How's it going, guys? Mazda Monday, and today we are going to go over troubleshooting. I was gonna do the exhaust video, but I feel it's more important that you guys know how to use Mazdaedit to troubleshoot. So this is our Mazdaedit Part 4. So I'm just gonna give you guys a rundown on if you were to get Mazdaedit and gonna get tuned, these are the issues you'll possibly run into. So obviously you guys watched how to set up Mazdaedit. So now I'm just gonna give you different scenarios that you might run into issues. All right, the number one scenario where people run into issues with Mazdaedit, and is mainly on the 2019 plus cars, is the bad battery. All right. So if you get if you have a bad battery, even if it's reading 12.5, it might not work. So when you're going to read the ECU, and you're checking all the different ECU files, and then it gets to one that it turns off your dash, that's usually the one that is going to be able to read your ECU. Now, if all of a sudden it's reading and it's, you register your VIN number and everything, and then halfway through it stops, right? A lot of times it's because the battery didn't have enough juice, all right? So if your car's been sitting around for a month without driving or something like that, or it's the morning time and the car's been sitting, the best thing you can do is drive your car around before you decide to go read your ECU, because reading the ECU takes a lot longer than flashing the ECU. So I always suggest make sure your battery's good before you start to read the ECU. There's mainly an issue on the 2019 plus Mazdas. I don't know when they switch manufacturers for the batteries, but the older cars haven't been having issues, but the newer cars have. So that's the first thing. Make sure you have a good battery before you start doing your read, all right? Next situation would be if it starts to read, then all of a sudden it stops just like it did when you had a dead battery. It could be a bad connection, all right? So same situation, like it was halfway through reading and then it stops. Check your connection, make sure you're not touching the cable. If you can, get out the driver's seat, be in a passenger seat. You don't want to touch that cable when it is reading. So now in those two situations where your battery died, or like you touched the cable and now the read stops, and all of a sudden your dash is going to light up, and you can't start your car. Sometimes when this happens, but it mainly happens when you're flashing a car. If you all of a sudden have a dead battery, or the cable disconnects when you're flashing, your dash will light up, and then your car is disabled and you can't start it. Now you're freaking out, which many of my customers have freaked out. There's a fail-safe in Mazdaedit. So what you do, if your car dies or you touch your cable during the flashing process and it stops, what you need to do is go find your stock file and flash that onto the ECU, and it will overwrite the procedure. So your tune files won't be able to do that. You have to go back to the stock file that I originally gave you, or your tuner originally gave you, and that will override the failure of the write. So anytime you have that issue where your dash is lit up and then your car cannot start, you need to get the stock ECU file and flash that. You need to write that to the computer of the car, all right? So that's how you get out of that situation. All right, next situation would be, so that's like the most important one. That's why I talked about it first. Next situation, you'll, during your Mazdaedit setup, you'll get the message when you go to read the ECU to say, can't find open port device, right? A lot of times, if you can't find your open port device, it's going to be the connection in the bottom of the device isn't in there, or you forgot to download the proper drivers for it. All right, so if you buy the genuine Tatrix device, you have to use the Tatrix driver that you can get on the website. All right, if you buy the generic device that I show my customers that is stupid cheap, and I don't understand why you wouldn't use the generic device, because you're saving yourself $170. I could probably resell those and make money, but that's not something I want to do. I'm trying to help you guys save money, so I give you the links for it. I could easily be reselling these devices for $170, but I don't want to do that. So I allow you guys to go and purchase them for stupid cheap. All right. So yeah, so you get the Tatrix, or your Tatrix device, or your open port device. If you get the open port device, you have to use the open port CDs that come with that generic device. Now, a lot of these new computers don't have a CD player, and that comes with a CD driver. So what I do is, for my customers, I send them a Google Drive link, and they can download the actual drivers for the Tatrix device, well, the generic open port device. So if you don't have a genuine Tatrix cable, do not download the Tatrix drivers. If you have the open port drivers, download open port. If you have the Tatrix, download Tatrix. All right. So usually that will solve your can't find device issue, or can't find open port. Another reason why you wouldn't be able to find a device is if you gave your tuner the wrong device key, or the device information. If you give the tuner the wrong device information, when you get your key, the key won't work. So make sure when you're sending your tuner your information that you're giving them the correct information. So if you go and give the tuner the wrong device info, when you get your device key, it's going to say can't find open port device. All right. And the same thing goes with your VIN number. If you don't give your tuner the correct VIN number, when you go in to read or flash, it's going to say the VIN is incorrect. It's associated with a different VIN, because you'll have a key for a different VIN number than what you're trying to read in the car. So if you give me the wrong VIN number, the software is registered to that wrong VIN number, and when you try to flash your car, it will not let you flash it. So make sure that you give me the right, or your tuner, the right VIN number. All right. And another situation where you'll get that message about this file is associated with another VIN number, is just random. I don't know why it happens, but it happens. Sometimes when I send updated tunes and people go to download it, it'll say this file is associated with different VIN number. If that happens, a lot of times what you can do is you can flash back to the stock file and then flash that tune again, and it'll go through. Don't know why, maybe a glitch in the software, but if you have an issue where you know you had the right VIN and you've flashed a car before with your tuner's tune and it went through, a lot of times you gotta, guess what? Flash back to stock and then flash that tune again, and it'll upload. All right. So that just happens. I don't know why. It just works. All right. So that's another situation where you have to flash back to stock, is when sometimes it'll say this file is associated with different VIN. All right. So next situation that people run into is, let's see. So we got the VIN situation. We got, I'm trying to think of every scenario, because people run into them every day. Oh, so when you're getting to your initial tune, this happens a lot of times with the initial tunes. It doesn't happen so much with guys who already have a tune, but sometimes when you're getting your first tune, the software because the system is always updating. The Mazdaedit software is constantly being updated in the cloud. A lot of the VIN number, or not VINs, but a lot of the ECUs that we are converting are the first time they've been in the system. There are a lot of VINs for the same model year, same make and model. You can have the same package, and the ECU ROM ID is completely different. Even though everything's exactly the same, they came off the same manufacturer lot, or the lot, or what, they were right behind each other in the assembly line, and they'll have a different ECU number. But anyways, so if you get this message, I'm gonna cut here to the message where it says that it needs to be updated and to reach out to Epiphan. You don't need to do that. All you're gonna do is you're gonna click the link that I give you for the MEP2, the same link that you originally used to download Mazdaedit. You're gonna re-download it, and what that's gonna do, that's gonna give you an updated version from the web. So pretty much, if you get a message saying this, all you have to do is download the original link that I send you, the MEP2 link, re-download it and reinstall it. And then that will allow the software that you have on your computer to update. The update link in the actual software, like if you got the Mazdaedit open, show you in a picture. That little update link doesn't work. So if you want to update your software because it says it doesn't have such and such, or is not allowing you to download the file, all you have to do, download the MEP link 2 again and reinstall Mazdaedit, and it'll go through. All right, so now that we covered those situations, let's do more troubleshooting that doesn't involve, just the setup and getting your tune downloaded. So say you do, say your car goes into limp mode for some reason, which I've had maybe 3 cars go into limp mode. Some are the Papa 061 Bravo, which deals with limiters and airflow. And I've had 2 cars, I believe, go limp mode from misfires, right? So if your car, goes into limp mode or turns off, you don't have a code reader, which I think everybody should have a code reader. They're $20. If you don't have one, go get one, because I don't know about you, I don't want to carry a computer in my car and a Tetrix all the time. And then you being able to supply me with those codes are going to allow me to make changes if I need to, or just tell you your problem. Maybe you installed the intake wrong and you're getting the code. So a lot of times when people get the wrong size intake, if a guy puts a 2.5 liter intake on a 2 liter, the car is gonna run lean, all right? And vice versa. If you put a 2.0 liter intake on a 2.5, the car is gonna run a little richer. It's gonna try to adjust, but when it's too big of a adjustment range, it'll give you a code. Now, when you guys put on the superchargers, you'll get the Papa 010 for, the airflow out of range or whatever. But a lot of people, you don't really need to know the code. I mean, you got Google. You can just look up the codes. If you're running lean, Papa 0171, that's usually associated with either an air leak or you just don't have enough fuel for the tune that you're running. That usually typically happens on my E85 people and supercharger people. So we got to really push fueling for those guys. So, and then like another reason why I try to, like the spark plug stuff, I tell you guys to put the spark plugs in because a lot of you guys have, older vehicles. Like my car is a 2019 and I'm at 72,000 miles. For the stock car, the interval to change the spark plugs is 75,000 miles. And that's just on certain models. If you go to the turbo model, the interval is 40,000 miles, right? Now, 75,000 miles is for a stock car. when you get tuned, especially by me, that change interval is going to be less because we're pushing more power than stock. We're running hotter than stock. So instead of, you don't have to go turbo range, which is 40K miles, but you don't want to go 75 because we're going to shorten the cycle of that because we're going to go hotter and I'm going to increase your RPM. So when you're increasing RPM, there's more heat, all right? So I increase every car 300 to 500 RPM. So that's just more, heat has to be dissipated by those spark plugs. So, instead of doing 75, maybe 60,000 miles on stock plugs, right? But I always, because I'm tuning cars from 2012 all the way to 2024. I just tell you guys to upgrade the spark plugs. You're probably never gonna have to change them again, especially since they're a colder spark plug and the gap is smaller. That's one less thing I have to worry about if you get a misfire. If you have those new GTR plugs, and I know some people think it's BS, but if you have those new plugs in, if you do get a misfire, I know it's not from the plugs. I know it's going to either be maybe something with the coils, or it could be possibly something in the tuning, because I've made a mistake before and had a car running too lean, and also, I didn't, how I found out about the spark plugs is because guys were doing their superchargers and guys were installing the spark plugs before they went supercharger, and they were like, is it okay to run it before I put the supercharger? I'm like, yeah. And these guys were running on stock tune, and they're like, dude, my car runs better without even a supercharger on there, without even tunes. They're like, my car's running better. And I was just like, are you sure? So we do logs, and I did a stock log on it before he even put the spark plugs in, and I was like, wow, the readings do look better. And so for every car that has put the spark plugs on, tuned or not, people notice the smoothness difference. So people can call BS on it if they want, but I'm going to believe my customers because it's not something that was just, I'm asking them. They just, without me telling them, would give me that feedback. And it happened over and over again. So now when people ask me, I always recommend that. So yeah, I like to have you get with those spark plugs, because now that's one less thing that we can eliminate if you do have a misfire. And then after that, we're going to start looking into, all right, let's make sure I didn't miss anything in your air-fuel ratio. If that looks good, guess what? We go over to your coil pack, make sure that's good. Usually, obviously, if you have a newer vehicle, you shouldn't have issues with your coil pack. If your car is a 2012 to Sky Active, it might be time to change it, which I've had a guy with a 2012 one had to change it. So guys, why not? All right. Same thing with the fuel pump, preventative measure. A lot of you guys, I have guys that are plus 300,000 miles. All right. So me having you, go and change that pump, that if you had a car from 2012, 2014, that pump has had a lot of gunk buildup in it. It's old. It's, it's not as efficient as it was when it was new. And also a lot of guys, when you're going in there, especially like those first gen Sky Active, that little strainer filter is dirty and caked, right? So this is another preventative maintenance item to do, right? And also the pump is a newer revised pump. When you get pumps that supersedes older pumps, 9 times out of 10, they're better, right? Why not go with the best product possible for the car? I'm not going to get into the science how it works because people want to disprove me, and I'm about to give you the proof, guys, because I'm going to give someone an opportunity to prove this works, because there's a lot of people that, there's not a lot of people. There's a few people that just have something against me. I've never had nothing against them. I help people when I can. I'm always trying to be positive, and I thought some of these people were positive influences, but it's not looking like that, and I'm not going to speak on it because I want this channel to stay positive. I don't want to turn into a person I want everyone to do what they feel is best for them, all right? You guys know I don't like 80 millimeter exhaust on a 2.0 liter. I don't think it's smart. And we're gonna, when I do my exhaust video in a few weeks, because now I have to make another video. I don't have to, but I'm gonna do it because I want to show you guys something. It's your choice. If you say you prefer the noise over the performance, that's on you. I'm always gonna advise people to do what's gonna be best for performance. If you say, hey, no, I want a short ram air intake, I want an 80 millimeter exhaust, I'm still gonna tune you, because that's what you want. You want the sound. I'm gonna give you as much as I can with the modifications you have. Okay, guys. You, at the end of the day, everything you do is your choice. I'm just here giving my recommendations. It's not something you have to do. All right. It's just from my experience and all my customers' experiences. This is what the conclusion we've come to. You know, believe whoever you want. I'm gonna keep being as positive as I can. And so because of this, guys, you know, because of a certain individual, some of you guys know, I'm not gonna get into it because I really don't want any negative backlash. And if I get removed from a page or something like that because I irritate people with factual stuff, which apparently I don't, and I don't like to be belittled or pressured into doing things, or like, you know what I'm saying? I don't like tyranny. I don't like someone trying to tell me I have to do things on their schedule. I created this YouTube channel to help people out, all right? I didn't have to do this. I could have just kept tuning and got referrals, right? But I was searching for this. When I was on YouTube, I couldn't find anything. It sucked. So that's why I really made the channel. And yes, I'm grateful that having this channel allowed for me to get more business. You know, that wasn't ultimately the goal. I was just wanting to just get information out there because there was nothing there, and I get tired of answering all the questions all day. So that's what this channel is for. And so because of people are giving their opinion, they have no personal experience with me, belittling my experience with tuning and what I'm capable of and my income and all just things that are just irrelevant, right? I'm here to help you guys. My customers are important. If you're not my customer, you can speak all you want, but you have no personal experience with me. All right. So thank you all you guys who have had my tune, and I'm going to prove you guys right because I've done this my whole life where people belittle me. I grew up in a trailer, slept on a 2-seater couch for 15 years of my life. I didn't have my first bed until, you know, like I was going into high school. And for me to be where I'm at, I'm just grateful. Okay, guys. And I was wanting to be so negative today on this, but it just doesn't suit me to be negative and to feed into what's been already given to me. I'm not going to do it as much as I want to, but all I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to give one of you guys an opportunity. So hopefully it happens within the next week. I'm going to offer one person. I need a stock car, a 2.5 liter. It can be 3rd gen or 4th gen. All right. And I want to show you guys the real data. All right. Because a lot of people are always trying to disprove how fast I can make the car. I'm honestly shocked that the car, in a car, naturally aspirated with no supercharger, can improve 0 to 60 more than a second. And a lot of people are trying to discredit, not a lot of people, there's just only a few people, are trying to discredit it and says, due to temperature, due to this, due to that, all these variables. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to control as many variables as possible. No matter what I do, somebody's going to try to find something to disprove it because they focus on the negative and not the positive, right? Because they, you know, it is what it is. I don't know what they got going on in their life, but I'm going to focus on the positive, right? So even if I make them so angry that they block me because the truth hurts sometimes. And if I'm wrong, hey guys, I don't mind being wrong. I'm like, dang, it was the variables, but I'm going to try to eliminate that. So what I want is, I want one person that's a 2.5 liter that's completely stock, either 3rd gen or 4th gen. And I'm actually going to provide some of the modifications. And what we're going to do, we're going to test all the modifications separately with stock tune and my tune, right? And we're always going to do the different modifications on the same day with the stock tune versus my tune, all right? That way we can eliminate the variables as much as possible, and people can stop being like, oh, it's because of temperature this, oh, it's because of this. So, I mean, I'm going to go as far as to making sure the gas tank is the same level on every run. All right, so here's what the plan is to do. I need one person. The only thing I'm going to require you to buy is your Mazdaedit software. You're going to get a $200 tune for free. All right. I'm going to send you GTR spark plugs. All right. And I don't know what generation I'm going to get. If I get a 3rd gen or a 4th gen, I'll probably just have to send you the link for the fuel pump. I don't know which one I'm gonna get. And I don't have any fuel pumps on hand. I do have a spark plug, so I'll send that. And a Draggy. So I'll go buy a Draggy, but I'd rather whoever it is to get their own Draggy, because if you're in another country, who knows how long that'll take to get there. I mean, I guess I could buy it online and send it to you, but I will be helping out with funding that. So if I can get one person who's completely stock that is willing to use a Draggy, do stock runs with the completely stock car with the tune afterwards. Next day, we're gonna try to keep all the time of day that we're doing all the pulls. We're gonna try to eliminate variables. So we're gonna try to keep the temperatures the same by trying to do the runs at the same time of the day. They need to be able to go somewhere safe to get up to at least 60 miles an hour so we can do 0 to 60. I'm not saying that you have to do a quarter mile, because quarter mile speeds are illegal. But if you do quarter miles, hey, that's on you. That's not a requirement for this test. So I just want to do stock with versus tune. Next day, same time, do stock with spark plugs versus tune with spark plugs. Next day, we're gonna do stock with spark plugs and pump, tune with spark plugs and pump. And then the final day, I wanna have us do, stock with spark plugs and pump, and the minor intake modifications, which is the air filter and the hose, and then the same thing with the tune. So we'll do it in stages so you can see how each modification affects performance. And I want 3 runs of each. And we'll always do the stock tune first to give them a better chance of having a better time, because I don't want any BS around, oh, well, the stock tune was hot, this and that, anything to try to discredit me. We'll always do stock tune first. That way, guess what? It has a better chance of having a faster time because it's cooler, all right? All the tune runs, they're gonna be on a hotter car. After that they're gonna have 3 runs. So there shouldn't be no reason why the stock car is slower, because, the heat situation. We're eliminating that, all right? So I'm gonna give the stock tune a better opportunity to make faster times. That last day with all the mods, I'm expecting over 1 second, change. I don't want whoever's doing this to sandbag the stock tune either. All right, I want y'all to give it the same type of energy, stock and my tune, because I don't really care about, if it's not a second faster or more, cool. At least the customer still be happy, and I'll admit I'm wrong, but I know from what I've seen, I can improve a whole second in the 0 to 60, guys. And every run we do, those tires are gonna wear down. So by the time we get a full tune on there and all those modifications, there is no reason why this car isn't gonna be, if it goes a second faster, it's not because of anything with the better tires or the temperature. Is gonna be because the modifications work and the tune works. All right, guys? So I need one person. I'll leave the details in the description. Hit me up. You're going to get a free tune. I'm going to send you some free parts. All I ask is you buy your Mazdaedit software and a Draggy. All right, Draggy's $70. But you guys are going to get the best of the best. I'm going to give you 1 tune for the testing, and then after that, I'll give you lifetime free tunes, guys. So I just need somebody to be able to record this information for me. That's all I have for today, guys. Stay positive. Don't feed into the negativity. Thank you guys for supporting me. And yeah, we'll see what happens with these tests. Hopefully we get some videos, whoever decides to take up this challenge. Thank you, guys.